You shouldn't be able to walk into a shop and buy a machete, no questions asked. Too often we see them used in robberies, and too often we sit down with the victims. Families now scared in their own homes. Well, maybe it's finally getting through to our politicians. Today, a promise to crack down on repeat youth offenders.
We don't deserve this. Nobody does.
It's time that there be respect put back into our system.
They were here for an hour.
Families living in fear.
So yeah, I don't feel safe, really. And everyone's on edge.
And waking up to empty driveways.
Then I went to the garage and opened the garage door and saw the car missing.
Every day, headlines like this.
Machetes, zombie knives, meat cleavers.
Well, one of the alleged offenders was on bail at the time.
He's aged between 14 and 18.
Another home invasion just a few blocks away.
In Victoria, youth crimes hit breaking point. Home break-ins doubling in a decade. Finally, the Victorian government has taken note.
Today we are announcing the introduction of the toughest bail laws in the country.
Premier Jacinta Allen today talking tough, vowing to crack down on repeat offenders.
Changing the focus from remand as a last resort to putting community safety as the first principle that bail decision makers need to consider.
The changes are long overdue for victims like Mithan and Priya.
What else needs to happen? People are getting killed.
As their family slept upstairs, teenage intruders rifled through their Bendigo home. The underage burglars snatching one car. The other car wouldn't start.
The police had said that they might come back for it. They couldn't take it the previous day because the battery was dead.
The police were right. The next night, the bandits returned.
I tried sleeping but couldn't. Around 1:30, I told my husband, I told Mithan that, I'll go down and get a glass of milk, warm milk, that might help me sleep. And he said, no, you're not going down, I'll go down. And he came down the stairs and he could hear them outside trying to jumpstart the car.
The young thugs then gloating about their antics online. A week later, intruders were in their street a third time. Police say they've since arrested the suspects.
If the kids were on ice or if the kids were on drugs, what if they had walked up the stairs and done something to my kids? If I had to look right, left, centre throughout my day worried, I would be living in India. I wouldn't move to Australia. Australia is meant to be a safe country and a fair country. That's why we moved here.
Their kids are still rattled. They're aged 10 and 12.
So my kids have not gone to school the entire week. They love school. However sick they are, they want to go to school.
Last week, Victoria's opposition leader Brad Batten, himself a former police officer, raised Priya's case in Parliament.
Priya said, "When is this going to stop? How many more of the Premier's constituents need to become victims of serious crime before the Premier changes the law?"
I was able to speak to Priya following the awful incident that has been referred to, and we spoke about how no one's home should be a scene of a crime like this.
I speak to the coppers all the time and they are so angry on this because they know that they go through the whole process. They're doing the work. They're arresting the people they need to arrest.
The opposition leader says the revolving door of bail has fuelled underage crime.
The biggest change we've seen in the state was the weakening of bail laws back in March 2023, and what we've seen from then, it feels like there's no consequences for these young people who are getting bail 30, 40, 50 times.
Something Premier Jacinta Allen has vowed to change.
We will be introducing new consequences for breaking the rules. There must be respect for bail.
I'm a tax-paying, law-abiding citizen. My rights are not considered at all.
These new laws target not just young thugs on bail, but the weapons they can get their hands on, machetes. And victims who've been terrorised say it's about time.
I knew my wife was behind me.
Woken in the dead of night at the mercy of machete-wielding thugs.
This frightening footage from a doorbell camera captures the sheer courage of a father taking on an armed gang.
As soon as I told them that I didn't know where the car keys were, they just immediately started hacking away at my head with a machete. And I thought I was going to bleed to death.
Those terrifying moments changed Jesse and wife Rachel's lives forever. They've left the family home and Victoria.
It's no longer the haven that we thought it was.
It's a view shared by most Victorians these days. Here's another night, another suburb and another machete. In this case, at Mum Adele Andrews' house in Bayside, Melbourne.
Terribly frightening. And why they're getting them and where they're getting them, I don't know.
In Melbourne's southeast, for $9.99, you can buy this at a discount warehouse, or for $40 this. There's a myriad of machetes, knives and blades to choose from.
Do you have any checks in place to make sure that they are buying machetes for a legal purpose?
No, we normally just check the ID.
They are unsecured on shelves in cardboard boxes. They're not behind a cabinet or being stored safely. Who's to say that someone couldn't come in here and buy one and commit a crime? Pretty scary stuff.
There are community concerns about the fact that very dangerous weapons, machetes, can be purchased on your shelves for as little as $10.
$10?
Correct.
No, that's for the garden equipment, we see.
Well, it may be garden equipment, but it looks like a machete to me for $10.
So this is a shop about 20 kilometres away from your home.
Oh my gosh. And at what point is this all legal?
A fair question, which finally Adele need no longer ask. Today, just 24 hours after we visited this shop, the state government took action.
We'll have more to say very soon on the details of banning machetes. We'll be the first state in the nation to do so.
But this unfolded in November 2023, and 16 months later, this. For so many traumatised families, it's too little too late.
It's not just a news item, it's not just a statistic. There's lives and repercussions.
Until these new laws are passed, in Victoria, a machete is considered a controlled weapon, meaning they can't be sold to anyone under 18 and can only be carried or used when there's a lawful purpose, such as clearing crops, farming and gardening.
This has been on the books for 2 or 3 years that these things should be banned.
Justin Lawrence from Henderson and Ball Lawyers.
The difficulty right now is there is no onus on a retailer. They don't have to look beyond someone who comes in with their driver's licence.
Today's announcement may be a move in the right direction, but Jesse wants more.
The police worked very hard on this case, and I think they had limited resources, and perhaps with a little bit more resource and capabilities, they may have got their man.
Well, let's hope this gets machetes off the streets.